Yeah, I know you from TV. I don't know who you are at all. He goes, I've done this before in LA. I've talked to celebrities and I've done the same thing. We're not friends. What are you so like happy and positive about it? I was like, you just cracking me up.
I told Jeff, just looking at him, I go, that guy right there lives in LA.
Yay Networks.
Hey guys, episode 45. I look like it's snowing and it's probably negative 20 degrees. My dad's in town and he's had the windows open and it's freezing in this basement and I've been freezing the whole time. So I'm sorry. I am covered today and a little tired.
Don't worry. Most people are just listening. They're not watching.
Yeah. Well, people will let me know.
Are they going to let you know about that stain on your shirt?
I know. I couldn't even hide. We had to go to the bank earlier, and then we came straight here to start recording. I didn't have time, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no way you could just go upstairs and change your shirt.
No, I'm comfortable. I'm like cozy. I still have my coat. I brought it down here in case I was still cold.
Well, you look cozy.
Yeah, cozy and comfy and cute, and that's my jam.
He's super cute. How do you feel inside? You feel cozy and comfy?
I'm tired today. We have had all these makeup sports because we said this before, spring in Colorado for sports for kids is crazy. My dad can't believe the weather. He's like, it's in the 90s in North Carolina and it's like 50 here and the sun hasn't been out. The wind has been blowing. That is one thing I've learned that makes me mad is wind. When I take my long walks, I can't talk on the phone. I have my headphones on, and the wind is blowing so hard, it disrupts me, and I don't like it.
I grew up in a windy city.
You did. That is true.
Do you know, I've told you this before, though, but a lot of people don't know. They think Chicago, it is windy, and it's right off the lake, and when you're downtown during the wintertime or it's cold, the wind whips off that lake, and it's really cold. But it's not because of the wind. That's not why they call it the Windy City.
You told me that. What was it again?
It's from the politicians, like
That's
talking so much that wind comes out of their mouth. And that's why it's called the Windy City, from the politicians. That's how it's got its name, not from the actual wind itself.
I don't know.
A lot of people don't know that. What'd you say?
That made me, no, it just made me think about because we were at the bank and your bonds and the extra step you have to go through. And you're so
yeah, I don't know why we're talking about that. So
about it.
Yeah, so my grandmothers, my grandfathers, they used to give me bonds, all the kids' bonds. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, right? So since I was born, I have these savings bonds, that they issue to you, and, they take 30 years to mature to full value. So they could be anywhere from, $25 to $500, whatever it is, but it takes 30 years to issue. So I had a couple that were mature now. And like I said, me and Jordan just got back from the bank because we were opening up a business account. And I asked them about the bonds, and it's just like one extra step. I was like so mad about it because now they're like, oh, we can issue anything under $200 that's fully mature. But once it's over $200 and it's mature, or if you want to cash it in, you got to overnight it to the Treasury Department, right? And then it takes 4 to 6 weeks for you to get that check back. Like, they make you jump through so many hoops that you almost are like, you know what, who cares about it? But it's money, so obviously you're going to do that. But it's just so many more steps for you to make an error or lose that bond, and then they're like, well, we never got it. And it's like, man, I can't stand the government. I'm becoming like that old get off my lawn guy, they just bother me so bad that, like, taxes, nobody knows what the hell's going on with taxes.
Always, they do it on purpose. They said it.
I'm already
with the bonds. They said we just changed this policy was just changed with mailing it in. And I looked at Jeff and said, of course it was. Because you want to cash them in. I don't know. I think it's cute. Hold on to them.
It's cute?
No, I just think it's cute. Like your grandparents did that. Like,
oh, yeah. And I mean, I have the envelope from my grandmother, and it says, from Grandma and Grandpa Sardi and Schroeder.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I've never even... People are going to be like, oh, is it really? I've never even heard of that, bonds.
But
I feel like that's kind of old school. I don't know if
old school.
I don't hear about anybody doing bonds. I mean, you do Like for us, we open up accounts for our kids to like whenever they get money from grandparents, birthday money, meaning, or, you know, if we put money in their accounts, we do that. But I've never heard, like my grandparents never did that.
Yeah, because now everything's a Target gift card. You know,
Yeah.
that's everything. But it's like, it's actually smart, you know, if you want to invest in their future. And it's just, you know, my grandmother coming over here on a boat with my mom, you know, and they had like no money at all. And how she saved everything, you know, and like recycled. I remember my grandmother, like her garden, I still remember as a little kid, like her banana peels and eggs and stuff she'd put in her garden, you know, and like the little money that she had, she'd put into savings and like get us bonds and stuff. And it's like, look, I didn't at the time, obviously you don't
Right, you don't
appreciate
think
any of
about
that
it.
stuff. But now it's like, oh my God, with so little, she made it into so much, you know? And I don't know, it's kind of, that's almost an old school philosophy. The way, like we're always complaining about certain things instead of just doing our best of what we have, you know?
My grandparents are the same with their garden. They grow everything. Like in the summertime, they live off their garden.
Oh, yeah.
Tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce. And they have a big backyard. We don't have a big enough yard our yard is probably the size of their garden.
Yeah. And my grandma Schroeder on the other side, she was like so tough with like mowed her lawn until she was like 90. You know, still same thing, like with the savings and got the bonds. She was, you know, they're both from both of my grandmothers. But I don't know. It's kind of makes me appreciate them so much when I didn't really know what was going on when I was a kid.
And they were thinking about the grandkids.
Yeah.
Doing,
So every Christmas you got those, you know.
That's cute.
Yeah, it is cute.
And then, well, you talking about them saying like mowing the lawn and living to be 90, how old?
Yeah, 90 plus. I think they were, I mean, I don't even know, 92 or something.
Okay, that's a long life. The other day, my dad is here in town visiting. He's here helping us because we've had some events and sports, and it just everything gets overwhelming sometimes. So he's here like helping me out. And my dad is, I said this before, is a type 2 diabetic. So we're in line at CVS he's like, I have to have my Mounjaro to take my shot because he needs it because his blood sugar will spike. And he has a thing in his arm where he can test his blood sugar. He just like takes his phone and puts it up to his arm and it'll tell him everything. It'll read it. And I told my dad, we were standing there and the line was outrageous. I had to text my next door neighbor and pick up Lawson. And I said, Dad, look at all the prescriptions. Like, look how many people are getting medicine. And he's like, I know, it's crazy. And we waited 35 minutes, get up to the line, and my dad goes for his shots. And the lady tells us his total's $5,000 for his diabetic medicine. So he needs a Mounjaro shot, which I think she said was $1,200, and he needed 2 other things with his medicine, and those were like $1,200, something like that. So she thought my dad was going to pay $5,000, and she goes, oh, do you need a girlfriend? You know, you're paying for that. My dad goes, no. And my dad goes, honey, I got secondary insurance. This prescription is $75 for me. She goes, well, it's not covering it. So then we had to get over in line, talk to the pharmacist, and then the pharmacist is like, yeah, your insurance doesn't cover here, but the CVS in North Carolina covers it, but the CVS here in Colorado doesn't cover it.
Again, just another hoop to jump through.
So then they're like, well, now you got to call Walgreens, and then we have to transfer it. That's what they said, transfer it over to them. So we call Walgreens, and my dad's like, I got to get the medicine because I give myself a shot on Tuesday. And then the person's like, okay, we'll get it transferred. We'll have it ready for you in the morning. We get there, a whole nother thing. My dad is in there for probably 25 minutes calling his doctor's office. He has his pharmacist number, I think. He was texting her. And it was just, he needed some number and where he could get the coupon or discount.
Right.
And he's a diabetic. You know, he needs it. Mm-hmm. And it was just, crazy. And then we watched, was it Painkiller?
Oh,
that
yeah.
we watched
Yeah.
just about the pharmaceutical companies and how they are. And now and then a friend who works and all that was telling me all this stuff. And I go, stop. Don't even tell me any of this. It's kind of wild. I want there to be more.
It's criminal is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like wild. I can't believe this because you grow up thinking, oh, they're helping me, but are they?
Oh, this is a rabbit hole.
I know.
Sure.
So we're going to get off the subject.
No,
I just wanted to talk about that. It was just like this. My dad couldn't believe how hard it was. His doctor's office called. The pharmacist was telling my dad what to do all in North Carolina, and then how difficult it was just to get it.
Yeah, I don't understand. The pharmaceutical industry was kind of, everyone was against them because of things like painkillers and stuff. And so many people, everybody listening right now knows somebody that was addicted to pharmaceutical pills at one point or another. Everybody knows somebody, everybody. And then when COVID happened, again, I don't want to get into all these things here, but when COVID happened, somehow they became the good guys, the pharmaceutical industry, because that's what they were pushing. You got to do this and this is going to save your life. And it's like, what? How did that all change overnight that you guys are the good guys now? And you watch all the commercials and they're like, everyone's skipping on the beach and splashing each other in the water. And then at the end of it, they're like, this may cause suicide and make you want to kill your husband. And it's like, dude.
Yeah. Well, I've been following these people on Instagram. It's like more holistic and talking about gut health and talking about all your issues come from your gut. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I don't want to. This is a.
I know it's going to go through the whole thing, but I look into that all the time now. And before, I would have been like, oh, whatever, not thought about. Maybe because I'm getting older. Maybe because I have issues.
Listen,
stuff.
And I know you rely a little bit more on that, right? But I think that's very normal now. But I think normal is kind of trying to use that to support your lifestyle, whether it be with a weight loss drug or something to balance out your mental health. People are relying too much on that as opposed to using that as, maybe a crutch to help them along in life. Right. Like if you're using those weight loss drugs, you got to get off of that at some point. You can't be relying on that the rest of your life. There's not even research done on it. It's only 2 years old.
I was talking to a doctor a couple days ago who's really nice, and he's so passionate about internal medicine.
Yeah, and I don't even know what I'm talking about.
And
I'm drinking a beer while I'm talking about taking care of yourself.
And I was telling him I've stopped drinking and I'm eating right and doing all this stuff. And he's like, you're the ideal patient I want. That you're not like you're taking the trizepatide, but you're not trying to depend on it.
Exactly.
You're not trying to be on it for a year. You're making a lifestyle change. And he goes, that's how you see results. And then he was saying, you have to incorporate weights on this because you will lose muscle mass, bone density, all that stuff. And he's like, you just want to make sure you stay healthy. And I know I'm doing all the things on my end, but it's really cool talking to someone else because I learn stuff. Like you can kind of play with it. It's like, I could take it this week. I could not take it this week. I can. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to bore you guys.
No, I love that.
I feel like we're kind of, but you've done so well. It's so, I feel like it's so much easier. Like you just work out, you fast, and you lose it. It's so easy.
We talk about this all the time, but no, I think it's important. But I love trying different things like month to month and, maybe taking this out of my diet, putting this back in, or working out, or instead of weights, I do yoga. Like I love seeing what works for my body. And then once you dial that in, and again, I think your genetics and your metabolism, it has a lot to do with it. I know some of my friends are just ripped. They have a 6-pack still, and I'm
Our
like,
neighbor
I hate you.
Drinks all the time and he's ripped. And I tell him every time I see him, I go, I hate you. He'll just drink a Bud Light and he still has a 6-pack.
Yeah.
And
so that has a lot to do with it too.
He's genetically gifted.
But if you don't, you really got to dial in what works for your body.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Yeah, I like experimenting, and I like depriving myself of things.
You said that last time. I had a friend, this is random. I had a friend in high school, and my mom would always say, my mom would always say about her mom.
Is masochist the right word? You don't know.
I wasn't even listening.
I wasn't listening.
I wasn't listening.
Oh, great.
My mom would always talk about how her mom had like really pretty legs, and she would always say, she's got the best figure. And then my friend had like her mom's legs, and she had like beautiful legs. I know that sounds weird, but I always noticed it because they were just those legs that I wanted, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But her mom, to this day, is just stunning. She's like my parents' age, in her 60s, and just looks beautiful. And I'm like, that's genetics. That has to be like her body,
for sure.
Her face. Like, she's just beautiful. But anyways, talking about something else real quick.
Yeah.
We had 2 events that we went to this week.
Why don't we take a quick little break, and we'll come back and talk about the events and stuff. And then I want to talk about something, speaking of men and women, I want to talk about something. So we got some things lined up. So stick around, and we'll come back with some stuff.
All right. So Prolon is something I am really excited about trying because I have had several friends use Prolon, and they always rave about it. So I'm very excited that they are a sponsor for this podcast.
Yeah, and this is something that I started doing recently. And again, everyone has to try different things with their own body, but fasting really works for me. And Prolon, I think, is great for somebody who's a little bit worried about not eating during those fasting times. And if you're wanting to ease into it and kind of learn more about fasting, Prolon is the way to go. Because these days, a lot of people are learning about the benefits of fasting, like weight loss or mental health, even physical health. Your gut health is so important. But like I said, they worry about the whole not eating part. Well, that's exactly why Prolon was created.
But Prolon isn't a diet. Prolon is science-based, on Nobel Prize winning discoveries in medicine.
Absolutely. And like I said, this is a great way to start your fasting journey. It all starts with Prolon's 5-day program. You get snacks, soups, and beverages, all designed to keep your body in a fasting state.
And you are so good about fasting because I actually kind of mimic what you do here at home.
Right.
With how you eat and when you get home and the times. So I'm really excited about this.
And it's something your body needs to get used to. Again, some people are scared of the not eating part. And if you give Prolon, you get to eat while you fast. Right now, Prolon is offering TogetherMess listeners 10% off their 5-day nutrition program. Go to ProlonLife.com. Go to prolonlife.com/togethernmess. That's MESS. That's PROLON life.com/togethernmess for this very special offer.
Right now, Prolon is offering TogetherMess listeners 10% off their 5-day nutrition program. Go to prolonlife.com/togetherness. That's PROLON life.com/togetherness for this special offer. That's prolonlife.com/togetherness. Welcome back. So Jeff and I went to 2 events this week. He had one with, you got some really nice tailored suits.
Yes. Yeah.
You can share.
So I don't know exactly how many locations this place has.
12.
Oh,
the owners gave the speech. I was listening.
But you don't listen to me talk?
Jeff was too busy having drinkies, and I was the sober one listening.
I had 2 drinks.
I was listening.
All right. Anyways.
For once, I was listening.
It was a great event. And it's this company called Balani. BALANI. We're not getting paid to say this or anything. I'm just saying it because my suit is amazing.
If you watch Daily Blast Live, you'll see it.
Yes. And if you see any pictures recently of me and Jordan and a wedding we have coming up, I'll be wearing the same suit to all of it.
The suit to that event, and then the suit last night, he wore it too. And then I go, are you going to wear that to the wedding? He's like, oh yeah, I think I'm wearing it to the wedding too.
Oh, for sure. So there's something about a tailored suit, right? And I don't spend a lot of money on myself,
You know.
But there is something with a tailored, detailed suit that makes
sharp.
you feel like a better person than you are. You know what I mean? Like I guess it's like wearing a nice watch, which I don't have. One day maybe I will. But it's like putting on really nice things makes you feel more confident and better about yourself.
But it's tailored to your body,
exactly.
so it looks nice.
It looks great. It looks, I mean, yeah, it's really something that I've never done. But if you do have, the money to treat yourself, everyone should have like one nice suit. And I felt fantastic these last 2 days. And people pulled me aside last night and they're like, dude, that suit's fantastic.
And Jeff was so excited. And he had a couple old fashions last night. So he was chatty. And you're more social with strangers. I'm more shy, like quiet. People will always think I would be the one to be more outgoing. I always get really quiet because I just don't know what to say. I
love meeting new people. Like we've talked about how I love meeting my Uber drivers from other countries. I really get into it with them, and I love it into it in a good way. You know what I mean? Like I love their cultures and learning about where they're from, and even if they're not from somewhere else, I love that. I love talking to people and learning new things, and I really do. And then once I get to know someone, I kind of don't like them as much. But I really do. I like meeting new people. And I don't get social that often, right? We don't go out that much. So last night was great. We went to this
John Elway opened up they reopened the John Elway restaurant in the Ritz-Carlton. But we always at the airport, if you're ever in Denver airport, is it American if you're flying? I think it's the American terminal.
United? It might be United.
Is it United?
I don't know.
It's either American or United. If you're ever in Denver, go to the Elway restaurant in Denver. It's really small. It's always super packed. But if you have the time, eat there. It's really good. And so Jeff was crushing the seafood bar.
Oh my God.
I don't know how many oysters he had. And they had these big jumbo shrimp. I told him there was lobster. He didn't believe me. And then Jeff made a friend at the lobster bar. And
This guy was great. Should I say his real name? I won't say his real
don't
name.
say his weird name.
Yeah, but this guy comes up to me and I'm at I'm just crushing seafood. Everything's free. It was a great night. And this guy comes up to me and goes, dude, what's up, man? It's me. And I was like, oh, what's going on? He introduced himself. He goes, dude, we're both letting it go gray, huh? Or like meaning our hair. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And in my head, I'm like, dude, who the hell is this guy? And he's like, dude, my wife literally told me, stop dyeing your hair. He goes, why? Could you tell I dyed my hair? He goes, everyone could tell. And he's telling me this whole story about his wife and how he doesn't dye his hair anymore. And he goes, I don't know. I was just going along with it. I'm like, yeah, I can't believe that. But in my head, I'm like, dude, where do I know this guy? He's so confident that he knows me, and I feel like a jerk. And then so we're just talking and eating. And he goes, wait a second. How do I know you? And I'm like, I don't know. I was just trying to put that together too. He goes, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm on this TV show, Daily Blast Live out here. He goes, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I've done this before. Yeah, I know you from TV. I don't know who you are at all. He goes, I've done this before in LA. I've talked to celebrities and I've done the same thing. We're not friends. But he was so happy and positive about it. I was like, he was just cracking me up.
I told Jeff, just looking at him, I go, that guy right there lives in LA.
Yeah, he looks like he's a good time guy.
Yeah. He was, it was funny. And then, so it was great food. I, of course, went to the dessert. And then I ordered a soda water. And the guy's like, no, you have to have a cute drink to walk around in. So I was like, okay, just make sure it's non-alcoholic. And so he made me some type of mocktail. And it was good.
Yeah. The food was so good. Nice. John Elway was there the whole night, which I was surprised.
I didn't think John Elway would be there. And y'all are going to laugh. When we first moved to Denver 7 years ago, and I saw there's John Elway, Cadillac, John Elway. There's another dealership. I thought, and I saw the restaurant Elway's in Cherry Creek. I thought it was just some guy, a rich guy, known guy, probably in Denver, that just was a business guy and had all these restaurants. I didn't know he was a football player. I didn't know people loved him. in dinner because I don't know. He's like way older, and I don't watch football. So it wasn't until I was down at the pool at our old apartment, and somebody was talking about Elway's, and then it was Jason. Remember Jason? Yeah. And he looked at me and was like, "You didn't know that was John Elway's?" And I was like, "No, who is he?" And he's like, "Are you serious right now?" And I guess he's like so loved in Denver. No. But it's kind of like in North Carolina and Charlotte, there are dealerships with no names it's just very popular, just businessmen that are not NFL, and they're just, made a name for themselves. And you see their dealerships everywhere. So I thought the same thing here.
Yeah. I think it's sad that I'm so excited about we went out because your dad's in town helping out with the kids so we could do things. And I don't know, it was just a great week. I'm exhausted, but
I am tired too.
It's fun to go out and socialize.
That's why I probably look like this too, because honestly, I not hardly ever wear makeup, and I put makeup on 3 days this week. I don't have makeup on now, and I'm like, I can't do it. I don't have the energy to put on my makeup today.
Or change your shirt.
Or change my dirty shirt from like eating.
That was me yesterday because I was crushing oysters, so I was like all over my face.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a little break, and we have something we're going to talk about. Jeff got a little at work.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's interesting.
One, so we'll see.
Stick around for
this one. Welcome back. All right, Jeff. All you.
So I don't know who has seen this. I don't know if it's going around social media. I believe it is. But there was this question that we did on our show called Daily Blast Live, and I got a lot of heat for it because, well, you'll hear why. But it's not because I'm trying to be malicious in any way or not understand people's feelings in any way or what women go through in any way. It's just how my brain works, and I'll explain. But the question was, if you are a woman and you're in the woods alone by yourself, would you be more afraid to run into a man or more afraid to run into a bear? And the majority, all the people that we use the example of said bear. Said a man. I'm sorry. They said a man.
That they would be scared
They'd be more afraid of a man alone in the woods than a bear. And my man brain immediately went to, that's crazy. Think about, there's 300 million people in the United States. Think about if there's 150 million bears. Would you feel safe? I'm not trying to sound ignorant here at all because I did take a lot of flack and people on our show were trying to explain it to me. But I guess because I'm not a woman, I don't understand how a woman thinks, especially a woman who has been assaulted in any sort of way. I understand why they would say man. But then I kind of got taken back. But there's another thing. Is it taken back or taken aback?
Taken back.
No, I think it's taken aback.
Taken back. Keep going.
I think it is.
Okay, go.
Anyways, only because I was like, if I was fishing, I use this example on the show. I'm like, so first of all, I have 2 young sons that I have to raise. I don't want people to be scared of them or me. And if we were fishing in the woods, or whatever, and a woman came upon us, they'd be more scared of me as a man than a bear. So that's where I got kind of confused. I understand now after talking to people, like women have this fear.
Well, okay. For me, but we're in Colorado. People are in the mountains and hike all the time. I think for me.
I hope I don't sound ignorant. I'm not trying to sound ignorant. I'm just kind of sharing my thought process with everybody.
I'm not speaking for women. I'm speaking for myself. So I think it would depend. Normally, I feel like if I was in the mountains by myself, there's hikers anyways. Like if I saw another man, a hiker with a book bag, and most people would be friendly, hi, talk. But I think if there was just a man, no book bag, maybe I feel like you get vibes from people.
This is such a vague scenario. That's why it's tough. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And then he was like a little sketchy and made me feel uncomfortable. Then maybe. But if I saw a bear, I would freak out because a bear can kill you. But I mean, I know a male could
assault you in some sort of way.
But I feel like I have a better shot at fighting a male, even though he would probably beat the mess out of me. I have a better shot at fighting a male than fighting a bear. And so I would rather take my chances on fighting a male than fighting a bear.
And from what we saw on the show, it's the opposite. From what we talked about it, and then our social media department posted this, and a lot of people were coming at me like, Jeff's ignorant, he doesn't understand. And listen, that's fine. I'll take the criticism.
Talking about the vibe.
But you're not like most women would say man, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I'm saying there was a man that I thought was sketchy, and I thought he was going to hurt me, I would already start getting defensive and be like, okay, it's going to be me or this guy. I'm going to fight him, because I would. But if there's a bear coming at you, I mean, that's an animal. It's huge.
That's my brain, right? My brain. So just from all my, I go fishing with my dad. We go fishing all the time. And like, I've been in the woods a lot, and everyone I've encountered in the woods, and again, this is just my brain. And this example is so extreme, so don't take it so literally. But all my encounters, when you see somebody and you're hiking or you're passing them, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? And they're you know what I mean? It's not like there's never fear in my mind, but I'm not a woman. I understand that. But if I saw a bear, I'd be freaked out.
Right.
But I don't, so I'm learning other people's everything. And I understand how women are fearful of men, but that makes me sad, kind of. I don't want people to feel that. But I understand there's terrible men out there, and people have their own situations, and I'm not diminishing that whatsoever. I just thought it was interesting how my brain immediately went to bear, and all the women, their brain immediately went to a man.
Well, again, I already said it twice. It goes on the vibe you get. If they're just like hi and friendly, I feel like you kind of know.
Yeah, that's now we're putting caveats onto the story.
Too, if I was going in the woods by myself, I would be sharing my location, letting people know. I would carry a knife with me. Or a gun, or I would have something to protect myself. If I was there by myself.
Saying, yeah, again, you could fill in so many details to this story.
But this is just where I go, and me thinking of myself. If I'm going to be in the woods by myself and possibly see a mountain lion or a bear or something like that, I'm going to pass a psycho that's maybe wants to hurt me. I'm going to carry something where I can protect myself, whether it's a rock, a knife, or a gun, where I can fight back.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a different part of the story. But no, I'm just saying, like, again, I want to go back to like my brain. If I was lost for hours in the woods, again, now I'm adding on to the story, and I couldn't get out, and I saw somebody, I'd be like, oh my God, thank God you're here. I don't know how to get out of here. Could you help me? Right. And I would assume that person would help me, not sexually assault me or murder me in some way. Again, that's my man brain thinking that way. But if you were lost for hours in the woods and you saw a man, would you be happy to see that man, or would you be scared to see that man?
I think it depends. I think if it was in the daytime, I would be like so happy and would run to him. But maybe at nighttime, I mean, if you've been lost for hours and you see another man, what if their cell phone's working? What if they know a ranger, they got a walkie-talkie, whatever they have, they could help you. So I think either way, I think you just have to prepare yourself. Like if you walk up to this guy, if it was nighttime, I think I'd be more scared. But if I had something to protect myself,
so if a man jumped out, again, I guess it's the scenario.
Like if a bear can't go get you help, a bear, you got to keep going away from.
Yeah, there is no help against a bear. If the bear wants to attack you, there's no help.
That's why I won't go hiking by myself out here, because everybody gets murdered in Colorado.
Take yourself out. That would never happen to me. No, I thought it was an interesting scenario, and it turns out, from what I've observed in people's comments online and just people at the show, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And that's okay. It's I that's why I love meeting people and cultures. I like to learn, and I want to learn. And it's not like I'm being malicious in some way or I'm naive in any sort of way.
No, I think if somebody's had past trauma.
Absolutely.
If something bad has happened to them, where meaning sexually assaulted,
yes,
then yes, I could see somebody instantly going there being scared of a male.
But I was just surprised by how many women would rather face a bear than a man. Like, I was just surprised. I thought, like, and when I say, like, I'm sad about that answer because I'm a man and I have 2 sons to raise, it's also humanity, you know? It's also like, there's no more faith in humanity. If you're more scared of a man in the woods than a bear, again, this is just it's like we've lost faith in humanity.
Yeah, but I think there's so many videos out there. Haven't you seen the videos in New York City, just men going up and punching women in the face?
No, I get it. I don't want to sound terrible.
You're not sounding terrible, but I'm just saying how, because you said people being scared of other people. It's now all you see are people getting punched in the face, somebody getting murdered, someone getting stabbed, bad things. And maybe it was always this way, but social media, everybody's got their phones to film it and record it. And everybody's like, take a step back. Me, I don't want to get involved with people. I take a step back. I don't want to be out late. I always do my errands, everything. I am home by like 4:30. I do not like being out at night. I don't want to be out pumping gas. I don't want to be out driving, just like when we were downtown. So when we were downtown waiting on our car, it was taking forever. And there were these 2 guys cutting through. And I mean, it's freezing. They're in flip-flops. And for a second there, I had my eye on him because the guy kept staring like as he was walking by. And I was like, you trying to do something? You know, that's like in my head what I'm thinking. And it, like, I was aware I'm sober and I'm like watching him. And I was like, he looked back a couple times and I was like, why is he looking back? You know?
Yeah.
Because you were talking to somebody, so I looked like I was standing by myself, you know? Okay. But I'm always like aware and watching what's going on. And I think that's just something you have to do. You need to be aware of your surroundings, and bad things can happen anywhere. Bad things can happen in nice areas, you know? You just need to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, and I am hyper aware of my surroundings, but I also know I could defend myself if something did go down, right?
Right.
But so that's, again, my brain. That's my man brain or whatever. That's who I am. So
women can fight back, but a woman's going to get it against a man, obviously.
Right, and especially if there's trauma there or something happened, I understand that answer. But I don't mean disrespect. People were coming at me like, you know, I was this male chauvinist pig, and that's not at all. I'm just trying to explain why my brain is what it is, and that's why I'm curious about people, because I like hearing other people's stories and scenarios. And when I did that show around the world for free, everyone who didn't even speak the language that I spoke was willing to help me. So maybe I'm naive and I still believe in the fact that most people in this world, a majority of them, are good, not bad. But we focus on so many people that are bad. That's all that seems to come up. That's all people talk about, is we kind of transformed our brains to thinking everybody's a bad person. And I would argue that and say, I would say the majority of the people are good people. We just hear about all the bad stories.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think people just don't want to get involved, you know?
It makes me not want to get involved.
Well, I mean, if there was a lady in front of me getting attacked, I would help her.
Definitely.
Obviously. I'd have to like throw my kids in the car real quick and then be like, I'll be right back, you know? But I would help somebody.
But if there was a woman alone, again, my brain, I'm just sharing with you
what my brain thought. If I was alone in the mountains and maybe there was another woman that maybe was bigger than me, more built, I might be like, what if she gave me bad vibes? A woman could kill another woman too.
All right. But
I'm just saying.
No, so if I was driving down a road, you know, we live kind of by the mountains and there's some off path roads, and there was a woman on the side of the road with a flat tire, and I was by myself, my first instinct would be like, hey, do you need help with something? But now, after hearing the fear, I don't know, would I scare her if I tried to help her?
If it was me, I would keep my distance and then
just be like, you want me to call somebody for you?
I would yell out like, hey, do you need help? So if you keep your distance, they know I'm not like hurting you. Okay, this is so weird.
This is such a random scenario, you know.
But just like the other day, it was because Lawson had a game. It was kind of getting dark. Normally I'm home, but it was starting to get a little dark. But I needed to get some cash because Leighton has tutoring, and I was at the ATM, and there was a car in front of me. And I could see it was a lady, and I kept my distance. I didn't pull up right behind her car. I like kept the distance, like a big gap, so she knew like, oh, this car's not too close to me. Because if it's getting dark and the bank is closed, nobody's around. There's trees all around, like where this bank is. Somebody could easily just get out of their car, go up to her, and try to get money.
Yeah.
There's crazy things. I was talking to a cop at Leighton School. He's like, you wouldn't believe the crazy stuff that goes on here. Because I was asking him questions. I was like, don't tell me anymore.
So do you think I'm naive thinking that the world is mostly good?
No, I think you have a good heart and you just try to think that everybody's good, and you've traveled, you're well traveled, and you don't judge people. You don't judge people like a book by the cover. You just accept everyone and kind of get to know somebody first. I don't think you're naive. I think you want to believe that everyone's good because where you've been, everybody's been great.
What do you believe? What do you think?
I don't know. I like I said, I keep my distance with people.
Strangers or people you know?
It depends. When I know, like my next door neighbors, no, I'm too open with them. But like,
I know who you are. I know how you are with friends of yours. Like, you're too open.
But if like it's people in the school, like Lawson School, that I don't really know, I kind of keep my distance a little bit. Not being rude, I just do that because I don't want to seem like I'm being nosy or being that person or judging someone.
Yeah.
But then like strangers, when I'm out, I just look down. I just kind of mind my own business. But I feel like when I lived in North Carolina, I wasn't like that. I felt like I became that way more so from living in California, because I thought it was super weird when we moved to LA, like nobody said hi. Like, walking past.
That is weird.
And like my dad comes here to visit, and he like sees somebody in line. He's like, hey dude, you got hookah shoes? I love those shoes. And start talking. And you can tell like the people here kind of like, all right, don't really want to talk.
Yeah.
But that's my dad. That's like in North Carolina. He just strikes up a conversation. Hey man, you went to NC State? Love that. North Carolina, whatever. And people will start cutting up with you. And I do sometimes.
People like that make me happy.
Exactly. That's why people are all moving to the South. But like lately, I've kind of been craving, because my emotions have just been all over the place. I think it's because I'm on my period. But I have been craving that lately, like the North Carolina people. I told you last night, I was like, man, if I had my beach house, I'd be in North Carolina right now, just because it's the warm weather, the music, people are happy, people are socializing and talking. And here, like I said, Colorado, sometimes I feel like can be the same vibe like California, and people just kind of look down. I think it depends on areas in Colorado you're in.
Yeah, like one of my favorite things to do, I think so many people are glued to their phone. I think communication is lacking. I think that's why we are in the state that we are in here in America. But one of my favorite things to do is like have a beer at the hotel airport and strike up a conversation, because that person's connecting a flight. It's not going to be too long. And hey man, where are you going? What's going on? It's so easy to talk. And it's like, I just like connecting with people other than through the phone.
See,
that's
like
not
for
real
me,
communication.
the airport, I wouldn't drink at the airport if I was traveling by myself, because I would think, oh my gosh, what if somebody slipped something in my drink or something?
At the airport?
Yeah.
What do you think? They're going to bring you in carry-on onto the plane?
No, because what if you were still walking and you were just like drunk and that you exited the airport? You could exit the airport with somebody.
So you gave a scenario that you're drinking after you got off the plane.
No. Like sitting at a bar drinking, and let's say I'm coming back here to Colorado and start talking to somebody, and they slip something in my drink and they take me out of the airport.
And you never made your flight.
And then I never made my flight. That can happen.
So you are fearful. You are fearful.
Well, I think about stuff like that, but then again, here comes like the defense part of me. Or like if I was in Vegas at one time, I'll have my beer, but I always will stick my thumb in my beer if there's a ton of people around me. And I keep my beer covered. I always put my thumb in my beer.
Maybe I got a lot to learn still,
Yeah.
But I'll leave you with this last story.
I never buy it. If anybody sends me a drink, which this was younger, nobody does this now. I'm saying this was like my 20s. I never took a drink. If somebody was like, hey, this person, if the bartender, I saw the bartender pour it, that's different. But like if somebody was like, hey, here, I got you a drink and handed it to me, I dumped it out.
Yeah. So you're aware. You're like you said, you're aware.
I am aware.
Again, I think it's maybe I get what you're saying. I totally get what the
But
whole,
when I was in my
wrap it all
early
up.
20s, I was in, like, I'm talking 20, 21 years old. I was an idiot. And I can cringe about some of the things I did. I mean, I was an idiot, not aware, being dumb. But now I am.
All right, let me wrap up with this last story, just because it was a culture shock, going back to when I first moved to Los Angeles. And I did miss that because Chicago, like people in the summertime, they're very outgoing and chatty. And I don't know, that's just how I was raised. So when I moved to Los Angeles, that head down thing and nobody really talking and,
You feel lonely.
It was a different total culture shock or vibe, whatever it was, because it was in Chicago. And I was like, man, nobody's really talking to each other out here, or they're not into it was just weird, right? It was living in a new city. And I remember I was kind of sad. I'm like, man, I'm a little homesick. And when I went home for Christmas, that first year I moved out to LA and things weren't working out. And, I made some good friends, but, didn't have a lot of friends. And I went back home to Chicago, and it was me and Mahoney. Me and one of my buddies went downtown to this bar, to this steakhouse, Carmine's. So we were sitting at the bar, me and Mahoney, and nobody was there, right? This was right when I came back to visit. And this guy comes in while we're having a beer. He goes, hey, fellas, do you guys mind scooting down? I got, my family coming in with a couple friends, and we want to have some drinks. And we're like, yeah, no problem, And so we move over, and all of a sudden the bartender gives us 2 new drinks. We're like, no, we're good. And he goes, no, the guy got you drinks over there for moving down. And I go to Mahoney, I go, that would never, ever happen in Los Angeles.
No, they'd be like,
never.
They'd have an attitude.
It was just such a weird thing about like how I felt about Los Angeles. And as soon as I get home, a guy does something like that, and I was like, that's how I was raised. That was like the difference a little
I'll
bit.
never forget Lawson was in the stroller, and I went to Coffee Bean off San Vicente over by Brentwood. And I would go there all the time because I'd always need to get my walk in. And I was new mom, not really knowing how to maneuver the stroller, and no one opened the door for me. No one helped me open the door. And I would always have to turn the stroller and back in that way. And not one person, if there was somebody behind me, not one person would be like, oh, I got the door for you. They would just let it like close on the stroller. And I just remember being like, this is the weirdest thing. But then you just get used to it. And then you just kind of forget. And then I haven't been home in so long, but then when I go home, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's like over the top nice.
Yeah. And again, that's not everybody in LA, and it's not everybody in Chicago.
We have so many good friends in LA, but I'm saying there are certain experiences because I'm like, you can't hold a door open.
Well, the point of my story is like where my brain comes from.
Yeah.
I don't know if that point got across.
Well, I hope we didn't bore you guys.
A little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Well, thank you all for continuing to stick with us, watching, downloading, subscribing, and I don't know, just thank you for watching.
Way to close out with a bang. All right, well, I'm gonna go.
That's how I feel about this week. I'm just tired. But y'all have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody.
Bye.